हरि ओम सर्वे जनाः सुखिनो भवन्तु दीर्घायुष्मान् भव स्त्रीभ्यः दीर्घ सुमंगली भव कन्या स्त्रीभ्यः शीघ्रमेव विवाह प्राप्तिरस्तु सर्वे जनाः सुखिनो भवन्तु. So I am going to talk a new topic today in English, and that is the latest controversy, political controversy in Sanatana Dharma. What is Sanatana Dharma? What are its practices? Why do they people talk like that out of hatred? And especially by those two youngsters in politics, so occupying some, one is occupying some very high ministerial post and the other is from the opposite party, and both of them are blabbering equally because they are not exposed to, they are youngsters, they are exposed to. But my request is such type of a people should not be elected in political governance at least, and because they are below average intelligence or average intelligence people, and opportunities to be given to more intelligent people in society so that the government can run. I want to entrust my health to a good doctor. That's it, simple. Now let us see what is the controversy, whether Sanatana Dharma is a religion or the philosophy of Sanatana Dharma. I oppose all these things are rubbish. Sanatana Dharma, the followers, Sanatanis Dharma and all, is a religion. And Hinduism is a region, it's a region's place, because people on Persian side, there was a river Sindhu, also called as Hindu, cannot produce sa, so they called people living on the other side of river Sindhu as Hindus. Like in Kannada, you have only Halu instead of Palu. Hadu, they say, instead of Padu. In Bengal, you will have Bishwanath instead of Vishwanath, Ba. Likewise, there are a lot of differences are there. In Pali, you will not have Ra at all. They will, instead of Dharma, they will say Dhamma. Karma, they will say Kamma. These are all a language problem. So, Hinduism and Sanatana Dharma both are same in different languages. That's all. There is no other difference between those two, and people following Sanatana Dharma can be called as Sanatanis or can be called as Hindus. Hindustan is a region's name, like people living in Rome can be called as Romans or Christians, for example. Therefore, the point is, they are very clear when they say eradicate Sanatana Dharma is a very, very strong word. That means you are eradicating the entire followers of Sanatana Dharma also. It can be construed also, though I am not definitely saying, but people will be hurt because everybody follows. Sanatana Dharma is a religion. Hinduism is a name of the place. Hinduism are all name of the place. People live like Persia, Persians, America, Americans, like that. Therefore, it is the same thing. The old text, it is Sanatana Dharma. Now, what is Sanatana Dharma mean? Sanatana by definition in Sanskrit, it's a Sanskrit word. It means, I will come to that. How the word came? Sat plus Tanam. Sat plus Tana, it is called Anunasika Sandhi. So when you conjoin these two words, Sat means Satyam, Sat, Da, Darshanam, Da. Sat plus Tana becomes Sanatana. It should be Sanatana, but it becomes Sana because A plus A can also be in Dirgha Sandhi, A in Samskrita. We have a lot of Sandhis, Visargaha Sandhi. Ramaha Jayati becomes Ramo Jayati. That is, people having knowledge of Samskritam will understand this, and I am exposed to Samskritam from 1972 onwards. I am a student of Samskritam. Therefore, I am very sorry to tell, these types of political differences need not have cropped up. Unnecessary. Secondly, if you say for Catechism, I am going to eradicate Catechism, means what happens to those Catholics? I am going to eradicate Sufism, means what happened to those Sufis? There is a form of unpleasantness there. You are also trying to say that you are going to eradicate somebody which is illegal. Now, when you say, I don't want to follow Sanatana, you say that. But if you want to say, I eradicate Sanatana, what is Dharma? Dharma and Adharma, only two concepts you can have in this universe. One is Dharma, one is Adharma. So if you do not want that ancient Sanatana, overall applied meaning is ancient, existing. Satu means Satya, Tana means offspring, or the shoot of the later on effects of this Sat, the Satyam. What all have come from the Sat. That is Sanatana. That is ancient, permanent, eternal. No, if you do not want eternal Dharma, that means you want eternal Adharma. So what is Dharma? Dharma is lawfulness. If you do not want lawfulness, then you want unlawfulness. It has to be. If I say I do not want lawfulness, legal system, that means I am for illegal system. What other system can be there other than this? These two are the only options, either heads or tails. Either the coin should be falling on the head side or on the tail side. So if I say I am going to eradicate Sanatana Dharma, means I am going to eradicate lawfulness. So that is the meaning. So that is not correct. That's not acceptable under any constitution. Now, we have seen the meaning of this, what is meant by this Sanatana. Now, let me go. I will also give some verses of Sanatana. Beautiful verses. Satyam Bhruyan, Priyam Bhruyan, Na Bhruyan, Asatyam Ma Apriyam. Priyancha Na Anritham Bhruyat, Eshaha Sanatana. Sanatana. Very clear. Satyam Bhruyan. People who speak, them who speak the Satya. Satyam Bhruyan, Priyam Bhruyan. Priyam, sweet words. Priyam Bhruyan, Na Bhruyan, no. Asatyam, untruth. Ma and Apriyam also. Harsh words. Not Priya, not sweet words, but harsh words. Priyancha, if it is sweet also. Priyamcha, Na. Anritham Bhruyan. Anritham means what? Ritham means Satyam or truth. Honesty, truth. Na anritham, an plus ritham. That is called, we have ajadi pratyaya. For all the swaras, we put an. For all the consonants, we put haladi pratyaya. We only dharma, adharma, karma, akarma, like that. I have explained. So, anritham bhruyan. Priyancha anritham bhruyan. This is eshaha. This is Sanatana. If it may be sweet, but if it is untruth, don't tell. First of all, Satyam Bhruyan, Priyam Bhruyan. No, this is Sanatana. Sanatanam comes like this. Now, if you say you don't want this and what else, see what does Thiruvalluvar says? Thiruvalluvar also says the same thing. Vaimaiye vellum, he says. Everywhere only Vaimai will win. Vaimai enappaduvathu yadendrum thimai illada sol. That's what he says. Vaimai enappaduvathu yadenil yadondrum. No harsh words. Thimai, evil words, harsh words. That is what is truth, he says. Same, Satyam Bhruyan, Priyam Bhruyan, Na Bhruyan, Asatyam Apriyam. When Thiruvalluvar says, although when the Tamil literature for these Tamilians and also this the Sanskritam words like Satyam Bhruyan, Priyam Bhruyan, it's all same. That means they who call themselves as Tamilians do not want truth to prevail even in Tamil Nadu. Is it not? Ella vilakkum vilakkalla. Sandrorku meyya vilakke vilakku. All lights are not the real lights for wise people. Only the truth is the real light. That is what everything we see in Sanatana Dharma. In Sanatana Dharma we say Matru Devo Bhava, Pitur Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. In Sanatana Dharma, these are all. Sanatana Dharma means Vedas and Upanishads, Ramayana, Mahabharata, all these verses. So when you say worship your mother, worship your father, worship the Acharya and worship the guest also. Thiruvalluvar also says Virundombal. Virundombal means what? Worshipping the guest, honoring the guest. But worship is a big word. So when you have all these structures in Tamil's Thiruvalluvar also, and even in Thirumarais also, all these I can prove if they come for a debate with me. What is the difference between telling one thing in Sanskritam and telling one thing in Tamil in our national, our beautiful country, the Bharata Desha? I can speak in my mother tongue, I can speak in Arabic, I speak in English. What is wrong in saying, I'm just asking a very nice question, what is wrong in saying Allahu Akbar? It's Arabic. You see, Allah is Aramaic, Jesus Christ times, and Akbar is Arabic. So you use some other language to say God is great. What is wrong? Nothing. God is great, English, right? In Sanskritam, Sarvavyapi Bhavan. Absolutely in any language you talk, your mother tongue is important. I don't say no. But what Thiruvalluvar says and what Sanatana Dharmam says, Thiruvalluvar also tells the same thing in Sanatana Dharmam, except I was giving Sanskritam words, Thiruvalluvar used Tamil words. The beautiful this thing, Vasudhaiva Kudumam, we say in Sanatana Dharmam. It is there. But what Thiruvalluvar says, Inna Saidare Oruttal, Avar Nana Nannayam Saidividal. Do not harm those even if they harm you. Instead, you do good to them, those who harm you. You do good to them. Do not harm them, even if they do harm unto you. That's what Thiruvalluvar says. Beautiful verses Thiruvalluvar has given to this world. That's what our PM Modi also beautifully quote from Valluvar. We are happy. What is the difference? Absolutely, if you say you do not want Sanatana Dharma, then it means you want only old Adharma, whatever it is prohibited, lying, cheating, talking lies, jealousy, hatred. Bhagavan says, have apaishunam, don't have paishunam, don't backbite the other. In Bhagavad Gita, I will come later on to Bhagavad Gita. I have given a lot of lectures on greatness of Bhagavad Gita. Simply some political parties with jaundiced mind have their own interpretations, which is totally wrong. If there are correct interpretations, I would agree. Totally not knowing Sanskritam, they interpret by some book written somewhere in 1930. I saw that book, somebody was referring. It was totally 60% rubbish. In Sanskritam, I am telling you, for example, in the first person, Asmat Shabdam, Aham Avam Vayam is there. In the second Vibhakti, we say, Aham Avam Vayam or Avam, Aham Avam Vayam, Mama Avam Now Asman Naha. Mam, you can say, Ma also you can say, but Ma is also used as no. Mam is also used as me. Or Asman, we all. Naha, we all. Naha is used with Visarga, we all. Na means no. See that what you use, how you use, unless you know Sanskritam, Grammam, Sandhis, all those things, please don't try to quote haphazard, and you are spoiling the entire beauty of the language and beauty of the country. All wrong citations, all wrong meanings I have found out. One fellow was quoting from Bhagavad Gita 17 as if 7, 8 and 9 verses, Brahmins will eat the good food. Absolutely, it is Satvika Guna, Tamasa Guna, Rajasa Guna only he says, Bhagavan says. He never speaks of Brahmin, Kshatriyas and Shudras. I will come to that now next. Now, the next point they are dwelling is the political parties. Oh, Mahabharata, it's all caste origins. One fellow belonging to another party, a young boy, he says, it is the caste hierarchy we are against, not the Sanatana Dharma, because the philosophy of Sanatana Dharma is wrong. Not the Sanatana Dharma, but the philosophy. Such an unmatured fellow, probably you would not even qualify for any entrance text at any university. I have been a teacher, I have studied abroad, I was a student in University of Missouri, Columbia in 77. He would not even pass the basic entrance test. He comes to the political field with a big seat because his fathers or grandfathers were all big people. That's all right. But don't do all these types of wrong comments. Where is the caste system in Vedas or Upanishads? Or I will come to that. First of all, there is no caste system, because Bhagavan says very clearly in chapter, I think 4:13, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha Tasya Kartaraha Mam Api Akartaraha Vidhi Avyayam. Bhagavan says very clearly, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam. I created the 4 Varnas, Guna Karma Vibhagashaha, as per the Guna and the Karma. Tasya Kartaraha Api Mam Vidhi Akartaraha Avyayam. Avyayam is changeless. I am always permanent. I am the Karta and I am the Akarta. See, beautifully he says. No religion you have all these words. Karta and Akarta. Heads and tails. It completes. I am the Karta of that. I am the Karya Karta of that. And I am the Akarta of that also. Everything it is in his hands. I can change. It is not by birth. It's up to you. It's Adam Smith's division of labor, sir. Complete. I am telling you, when Adam Smith speaks of division of specialization in society, a doctor has to be a doctor, engineer has to be a doctor. You cannot ask a doctor who does open heart surgery to come and fix your car tire or car engine which has gone bad. He will not do that. You cannot ask the biggest cricketer in India, come and do Carnatic music like a Carnatic musician. Neither you will have a Carnatic musician, nor you will have the biggest cricketer. Both will be mixed. So specialize. Specialization. So people who use their brains, Brahmanebhyo mukhamasi, Bahu Rajanya Kritaha, Uru Tatasya Dvaishyaha, Padvyagum Shudro Ajayata. Yes, it is there in Purusha Suktam. Mukha means not face, mouth who chant, shoulders, Kshatriya, Udara, my stomach is big, I am rich, I am a trader, and I do work through legs, hard work. And that is from Shudras have come. They are all 6 Varnas. And where do you throw flowers? Not up to the head of the Bhagavan, to the feet of the Bhagavan. That is one verse. So there is no caste system, means it is high in our society. Vedantago brahmanasya vijayi kshatriyo bhavet vaishyo dhana samridam syat shudraha sukham avapnuyat. Vishnu Sahasranama, famous words. Brahmanebhyo go brahmanaha, they all go to study Vedas, to the cows, to study and maintain the cows. Brahmane Vedantako brahmanasya vijayi, victory only for kshatriyo bhavet, let them be blessed with victory. Vaishyo dhanam samridam, earning money because their stomach is big. Shudraha sukham, let them be happy. When you have all these verses in Skanda Purana, Brahma says all men are equal because all have come through my body only. All are equal. If you want in a debate, I can challenge, bring more verses from the Vedas, Upanishad, thus clearly inducting a balance. Thus clearly proving. Whereas system could have come, the British system, Mughalaya system, see, in America we had racism. When I was studying, blacks were given separate bathrooms, separate toilets, separate eating places. You can't say no. Whites were not treating them at par. Nowadays things have changed. So the caste system means this is specialization, a doctor, a lawyer, an advocate. So people who use the brains were called Brahmanas, valor, Kshatriyas. It doesn't mean traders, Vaishyas, and people who worked hard, Shudras. And doesn't mean that one is inferior and one is superior. Superior means Shudras are superior because we worship, we catch the feet of Bhagavan, lotus feet of Bhagavan we say. So they are superior if you want to interpret in that way. So in Vedas and all we don't have, because later on Mughalaya, this Mughal ruling or the Turkey, the Ibrahim Lodi's ruling or the British ruling, systems were done. And over a period of practice, if you are rich, you are one caste, there are very, very poor Brahmins who even are pallbearers, who carry dead bodies. Will a normal Brahmin officer working in a big company, will he marry them with them? No. Though they belong to the same caste. You see, it is not the caste, it is the economic, this thing, your appearance, your looks, your knowledge, your intelligence. These are all making the societies changing now. So simply throw all these things and say, and none of our rishis were Brahmins, most of them, whether Atri, Brihur, Kutsar, Vasishtar, Gautam or Kaushika Muni was there, that's all, one or two here and there I can say. Even Vyasar was not a Brahmin. Which king was a Brahmin? Maybe 1 in 1,000. See, don't try to hurl abuses on a particular community, which is very wrong, which speaks of your hatred. You should have apaishunam, as Bhagavan says. Don't criticize others. You should have apaishunam. You should not have paishunam. You don't criticize. That itself is not a Sanatana Dharma. Probably that's what, because you are criticizing, you want Sanatana Dharma to be removed. You want Sanatana Adharma. You want only Adharma and not Dharma. If there is no Dharma, if you want to eradicate Dharma, then the leftover is the Adharma. So you want only that. You see, that's very, very wrong, and so nobody can say condemn Sanatana Dharma where it is. No, they are saying, oh, because of the caste system, Shudras are respected, as I told you from these verses, lots of verses. And he comes to the explanation of Dronacharya cutting the thumb of Ekalavya. Well, Dronacharya's act is not Vedas or Upanishads, or it is not the final rule of law, because Dronacharya did not write Vedas. He was a teacher like you and me, or ordinary teacher. He was a good teacher. He was a Brahminical teacher, yes, I accept. Why he could have cut a Kshatriyas or anybody else, he cut as per the Purana, as per the Mahabharata, yes, it is not a correct act. Even I do not accept that act if he has done so. That's why he repented that he has to be punished. He lost his, he felt so dukkha of losing his, feeling of losing his son Ashwatthama. Though Ashwatthama did not die. Ashwatthama hata kunjaraha. The kunjara, the elephant had died, but Ashwatthama did not die. But the thought that Ashwatthama died broke him, and his head was chopped off in the battlefield. So Dronacharya died like that. It's every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Because he took away the thumb of Ekalavya, his parents would have been affected. Sorrow. That same sorrow affected him finally when the news of his son, death of his son came, though it's a false news. So we are not fully endorsing the act of Drona. I am not endorsing. If he has done, though I am a Brahmin, I do not endorse. Because humanity is Vasudhaiva Kudumam. That's what the Vedas said. If Drona has misplaced the Sanatana Dharmam, then he is wrong. Ritancha swadhyaya pravachancha Satyancha swadhyaya pravachancha. All Ritam and Satyam. Truth. Swa adhyaya. You learn for learning and for pravachanam also. For propagation also. Cha is and. So when you say all these things, even Atiti Devo Bhava, anybody is a guest to you. They are all gods to you. So Dronacharya did the mistake. It is not correct. I would not accept. Even if he is a Brahmin. Now comes President. Why she was not invited? Well, sir, if you go to Sanatana Dharma, there are verses when even Manusmriti, but I am not saying Manusmriti's verse is completely a Sanatana Dharma, but he has written, he was an old, Manu means old man, a very ancient man. In his Smriti he writes, most of things I have found, they are been misinterpreted. In 356, chapter 356, Yatra Naryaha tu Pujyante Tatra Ramantehe Devataha. Yatra tu na pujyante sarvaha tatra afalaha karyaha. Beautifully he says, wherever etra naryaha tu pujyante, where you worship the women, tat ramante tatra devataha, all the gods will be rejoicing. Ramante comes from the word ram. That means Rama also comes from the word ram. Means rejoice. The dhatu is ram. So tatra ramyante devataha yatra tu na pujyante sarvaha, all activities, sarvaha kriyaha tatra there afalaha, fruitless, no phala, no parinamam will, no result will come. Falaha means returns, fruits, afalaha karyaha, all the activities. So that means Naryas were worshipped, ladies were given importance. Saraswati, Lakshmi and all, we have all those ladies. But in Abrahamic religions, if you take Quran also, the satanic verses was a famous disputable point which came. But in Quran, if you go to the chapter 53, verses 19 to 20, there were three goddesses which the non-Muslims were worshipping. They were called as Lat, Usa and Almanat. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he cites in his prayers including these three names, and the non-Muslims were happy that he is including their goddesses also. But then there appears to be an objection. Then as they were worshipping, and in the verses number 53, 21, 22, I called 19, 22, the God in Quran itself says, so you want to give God the women, and then you want to take the sons. You want to give God the daughters, and you want to take the sons. And there was a conflict that the daughters were inferior to sons, sons were superior to daughters. I am quoting directly from Shabir Ali's interview in New York from the YouTube. And then monotheism was not there when these three goddesses were also included. So that is what was. Then Gabriel comes and says to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that Satan has entered your tongue. That's why you made the mistake. That means he wanted to say that the girls should not be included. So that means there was a differences. Girls were considered inferior to boys. Males were considered superior to females. Clear. If you go and read satanic verses, they themselves admit. Some Muslim scholars criticize this. Some Muslim scholars support this. They interpret it in a different way as the cranes flying intercession. They give a lot of explanation. But there is a feeling even today, if a Muslim man does not have a male boy, then the property automatically goes to his brother or relative's son. He cannot give it to the daughter. That's why most of them give a settlement deed to their daughter while they are alive. See, those practices may be accepted or accepted not. There are such practices everywhere. But here we say Narya about respect women. That's why we have all female gods, lots of Adiparashakti, energy we call as Adiparashakti in Sanatana Dharma. Now, when you have all these things, if you want to eradicate Sanatana Dharma, then you have to eradicate all these things. I'm not saying about eradicating temples. Okay, you say that is different. You want to eradicate the philosophy. This is the philosophy of Sanatana Dharma. Every religion has this. Christianity, entire Canaanites were murdered by the act of by the advice of God. They were simply murdered. Even children beat them, stones. I have given in all my lectures. Do you want to accept all these things? No, I am not saying whether it has actually happened, because at those times, at those juncture, at those periods, at those intellectual level of those people, maybe tribal people, they have to be given an harsher teachings for them to imbibe and get themselves tuned to that, so that they learn it better. Softer, milder diplomatic words may not work for with tribals in those times. No, people are educated. So everything, if you want to say that, this and that with Sanatana Dharma, you will be... Now, why did she was not invited, President Draupadi Murmu? Why she was not invited for the presidential function? Why pride? Well, sir, see, there are some practices women themselves would not dare. Suppose if women loses her husband, she would not like to participate so much in a public function which has got no very big divine what you say, pujas or something, where it is a public social function. She herself will avoid. She herself will avoid, and she herself may not would have liked to participate. Probably astrologers would have said, see, if I say in Tamil Nadu we have a practice called Rahu Galam. Siddhas found out 10 out of 10 cases, 9 cases, if people do any function on a Rahu Galam, anything, any function, good function, if by karma, law of karma, that function should be 100% successful, because they did it in a Rahu Galam, it will be only 80% successful. If by karma, their functions are found to be 20% only successful because our karma is bad, in a Rahu Galam, it will be minus 20%. So that is why they said, this is called in statistics laws of inductive science and deductive science. By observation, you find out facts and figures, and that is treated as a science. Like they say, if you smoke too much, a man will die early, or you may get a dreaded disease. That is out of 10, 7 or 8 is happening. Otherwise, Americans would have banned smoking. You cannot touch the cigarette because it is bad for the health. But they have observed, if you have too much of cholesterol, blood can clot. But there are people who eat too much of cholesterol and the blood doesn't clot. That may be there. Similarly, there may be people who would have done something on a Rahu Galam, probably their success may be there, which must be, as I said, lower success. But the lower success, they construe as if it is a big success. That is wrong. So these are all inductive sciences. So similarly, if a woman who loses her husband, so our astrologers would have told, she herself would not like to participate, because this function is something for the welfare of the nation. The nation has to have positive energies from both Shiva and Shakti. Shiva Shakti. They have to energy and matter. So a woman who would have lost her husband would have grieved. That she had, definitely the Indian women would have grieved. There is no doubt, including our president, for some point of time. So even for a second, if she thinks that her husband is not with her, this joy is over, that can bring some negative energies on the whole system, which is governed by the nation of 140 crores. So President herself could not have opted for it. She should have opted out of it. And our Prime Minister is such a man that he made people from the tribal society as a president, when all these opposition parties voted against her and voted for a Brahmin like me. Why should they vote for me? They should vote for a scheduled tribe, a scheduled caste, from the lower strung of the society, who had no opportunity to earn or live a good standard of life. And we are lucky to have a very intelligent president from the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, who is ruling the country very well. And I am sure she herself would have opted out on the advices of astrologer. That is all. There is nothing called discrimination. If there is discrimination, our Prime Minister would not have put her on this big seat when all the opposition parties voted against her. Is it not? Where is Sati, sir? Who said Sati is there in Upanishads and Vedas? Come on, bring out. Which verse is there? When Vedas, in Vedas we worship Goddess Saraswati and Goddess Lakshmi and Goddess Parvati, and everywhere, and in Tamil Nadu, Valli Daivayanai, everywhere women are worshipped as Kali or Mahakali or Ambal. Where is the question of Sati? See, Sati came because women in India were too much devoted to their husband. They cannot think anything out of their husband. If their husband is lost, they could not bear the grief. They do not want to live without their husband. There is no question of divorce in those days. like you have in Western societies. They cannot bear the grief. They also feared that they could be dishonored. So some opted to go along with their husband to the next world. Nobody was pressurized. Rani Padmini, I think when Khilji or Alauddin Khilji or somebody, she committed sati along with her nobles, all the nobles' husband died in the battle. Why? Who pressurized her? After she wanted, that's what Alauddin Khilji, or I think his name is Alauddin Khilji, he said, I'm really surprised at the devotion of these women have for their husbands. When he came into the palace, he could see smoke. These Mughals, these invaders do all these things, and the sati, if that is done by some people, there was no pressure. Maybe 1 in 10,000 there could have been pressure by the relatives. Your husband has gone, you also, as per the law practice, you do. But it was prevalent to an extent. Yes, I would say in Rajput communities, maybe here and there, but nobody nowadays does it also. See, in other Islamic laws, if they say you rob, cut your hand, is it practical? But some may be going on. If a woman commits adultery, you take a stone and stone her to death. There may be something, but in Vedas and Upanishads, nothing of sati. I also checked, went, practices, some incidents would have happened that you cannot prevent it, or it would have happened. Nobody could have prevented. Like Rani Padmini, who can stop her from doing sati? Here and there, they say, even Rajaraja Cholan's, I found out that Rajaraja Cholan's wife committed sati, she could not bear. I'm not sure, but I saw in those Google. But it was there. I'm not saying sati is not there, but it was there. But it is not prescribed by the Sanatana Dharma that you have to commit sati. There is no rule of Sanatana Dharma telling that you have to commit sati. So all these things is Ekalavya, we are not accepting, or this Prime Minister Draupadi was not called for the function. She would have herself opted out because for the welfare, because Prime Minister has got nothing. Prime Minister has got nothing to do with it. He wants the happiness of everybody, but astrologers would have told. And the President herself would have opted out because they are just like I would say cholesterol gives you heart attack, or smoking gives you heart attack, or alcohol will damage your life, which is all to 90 to 95% of the time. Astrologers would have said that let this function be handled by a male member so that it blesses everybody. Well, that is not a compulsion, because widows were not voluntarily of them. It's not a discrimination against the women. Sanatana Dharma never says discriminate against women. They say worship the women. Whereas other Abrahamic religions discriminate women. They don't worship women at all. So these points which I thought I would say about whether it is Sanatana Dharma includes Thiruvalluvar's Dharma also, Thirumarai's Thirumular also, all his sayings and verses. Therefore, the point that saying all these things is absolutely nonsensical, unwarranted, unwanted. These young fellows who are appointed as ministers should go to and develop sports, go to the villages, tap the talent of lot of people with low incomes, especially from the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, whatever they are telling. They should go help them. There are treasures in such areas. Treasures, tap them, bring them to forelight, train them, give them assistance, financial assistance. That is where this energy should go, and not in coming to all these things, political, religious things, and try to argue. One minister says, I can argue with anybody else. I am prepared for argument. Let him come. I will speak very well Tamil. I can speak Hindi. I can speak Sanskritam. I can speak, if you want, even in French, whatever language, in Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam is my mother tongue, my home tongue. Anything I can speak. Come on, Kannadiga, in any language, whatever that gentleman wants to argue. There are pundits greater than I, who can argue much better than I can also bring them. You will get defeated. You will get defeated. Definitely, you cannot stand a chance. So, Sanatana Dharma, you cannot eradicate. It is the law of the land. It's a constitution of the land, based on which the other constitutions are built. So, with this, I conclude. Hari Om, Sarve Janah Sukhino Bhavantu.